What you need to know about coronavirus on Sunday, May 24th. A version of this story appeared in the May 24 edition of CNN's Coronavirus, Fact vs. Fiction newsletter. Sign up here to receive the need-to-know headlines every weekday. Houses of worship have become the latest coronavirus battleground in the United States. President Donald Trump declared them essential on Friday, calling for them to reopen right now and threatening to override governors who resist. All 50 U.S. states have taken steps to ease lockdown restrictions. But some states still ban large gatherings, including religious services, as the coronavirus death toll approaches 100,000. Several COVID-19 clusters have been linked to places of worship. When a person who later learned they had the virus attended a California religious service 2 weeks ago, 180 other people were exposed to coronavirus. Much like stay-at-home orders and mandatory face masks, the issue has deeply divided Americans. The Interfaith Alliance and the Council on American Islamic Relations criticized Trump's calls and advised against holding services. The Southern Baptist Convention, however, said they were pleased with the president's announcement. Europe has exercised more caution when reopening religious services. French and Italian authorities allowed them to resume this week for the first time in months. But strict rules are in place. Masks and hand sanitizers are mandatory, and seats have to be placed at a safe distance from each other. Meanwhile, Muslims around the world are celebrating Eid al-Fitr. The religious holiday will be a summer affair this year, just like the month that preceded it. You asked. We answered. Q. How can I stay safe in an elevator? A. It's best to take the stairs if you can. But if you can't, emergency room physician Dr. Lena Wen offers several tips. Wear a mask. It reduces the risk of inhaling the virus, which can linger in the air for 8 minutes, and it helps reduce your chances of infecting others if you are an asymptomatic carrier. Use a tissue to push the elevator buttons. If you don't have one, use your elbow, then wash or disinfect that area when you can. Try to keep your distance from anyone else inside the elevator as much as possible. Send your questions here. Are you a healthcare worker fighting COVID-19? Message us on WhatsApp about the challenges you're facing, +1 347 322 0415. What's important today? Brazil's deepening crisis. Coronavirus has yet to peak in Sao Paulo, Brazil's largest and worst infected big city, but the healthcare system is already beginning to break down. As the crisis deepens and the number of deaths continues to rise, President Jair Bolsonaro is urging businesses to reopen. He opposes many governors who are stressing social distancing measures to slow the spread. Far from hospitals, Brazil's indigenous people are dying at an alarming rate. The death toll is double that of the rest of Brazil's population, according to the advocacy group Articulation of Indigenous Peoples of Brazil. Activists say deforestation in the Amazon, which is accelerating despite coronavirus, is responsible for bringing the virus inside the rainforest. The lockdown trounces women's rights. The coronavirus seems to be more deadly for men. But in most other ways, women are bearing the brunt of the pandemic. From a spike in domestic violence and restricted access to family planning services to a disproportionate economic impact, lockdown measures are hurting women and their basic rights more than men. What antibody tests can and can't reveal. Roughly 12% of Moscow residents are believed to have coronavirus antibodies, the Russian capital's health authorities said yesterday, following the screening of more than 50,000 residents over the past 2 weeks. Antibody testing is a way to assess how many people have had coronavirus and determine whether a population can achieve herd immunity when a majority of the public becomes immune to an infectious disease. But health experts have warned against putting too much hope on antibody testing because it's unclear whether people become immune after catching the virus. Earlier this week, Sweden revealed that despite adopting more relaxed measures to control the virus, only 7.3% of people in Stockholm had developed antibodies, well below the 70 to 90% needed to create herd immunity. Hong Kong protesters take to the streets despite virus restrictions. Thousands of people flooded Hong Kong streets today, opposing the Chinese government's move to impose a national security law that threatens the city's autonomy. Police fired tear gas at protesters as they began the march, which did not receive official authorization and went against coronavirus social distancing restrictions banning groups of more than 8 people from gathering. On our radar, thrift stores across the U.S. are seeing a deluge of donations from people who have had months to think about the things they don't need. The New York Times has devoted its entire front page to publishing the names of 1,000 people who lost their lives to coronavirus. A cluster of coronavirus cases in the U.S. state of Arkansas has been linked to a swim party. Unlike other states, Arkansas has not been under a stay-at-home order to limit the spread of coronavirus. North Dakota's governor has made an emotional plea to avoid division over face masks. With many restaurants closed in the U.S., rat sightings are increasing as the rodents search for sources of food beyond restaurant dumpsters. A grassroots movement is helping connect those who need financial help with those who can. So far, contributors have provided $13 million through more than 100,000 matches. Drive-in movie theaters are making a comeback thanks to coronavirus. Lionel Messi and the other football superstars of Spain's La Liga will return to play in the second week of June. Today's top tips: it's okay not to be okay. It's all taking a toll: job losses, economic uncertainty, social isolation, homeschooling and cancelled vacations, in addition to the fear of an unseen and deadly virus that attacks via the air we breathe. Most of us are stressed. Really stressed. Here's how to tell if you or your loved ones need help and a guide to better mental health. Click subscribe to receive the latest news.